Yes, I'm here just doing some lighting arrangements for a new place. So where I was sitting, there was a lot of light right on my head, so the video was not clear. Can't hear anything because nobody is speaking anything. Anyhow, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope all of you are good. Welcome back to a new week, to your class for special reading practice session, and I hope all of you are doing good. Good evening, good afternoon. How was your weekend? Okay, so this means I am audible to all of you. All right, fantastic, that's good. Let's begin with today's session. I'll share my screen with the questions, and please make sure that all of you are timing yourself, you're participating, you are putting your answers in the chat box. Please, you can use your mobile phones to time for each question. Make sure that you are not giving yourself unlimited time to first solve and then to rethink and keep thinking on your answers. That's not going to work in the exam. So be very strict when it comes to time, because when you will give your brain lesser time, it will automatically start functioning in the right direction and will not give you wrong hints to look at. So let's begin. Anybody who's new, who has his or her first class, so we'll share the questions one by one. You will be having 2.5 minutes to solve each question, and then you have to post your answers in the chat box. When you're posting your answers in the chat box, please select Language Academy instead of everyone, so that nobody else gets bothered with your answers. But yes, whenever you ask a question, a doubt, you're more than welcome to select everyone for that, so that everybody can participate and understand the discussion. So after you post your answers, there will be a discussion on each question twice. And during that time, you have to keep a pen and paper with you, any notebook, so that you can take notes, maximum notes. There can be rules, there can be hints, there can be methods, grammar tricks and tips, a lot of things that will be there for you to note down. So you have to keep noting down whatever I am saying when I'm solving the question and you did not use when you were solving the question. So any gap, you have to bridge that through your notes, right? So here is your first question on the screen. Please make sure that you're very, very attentive when the explanation is going on, because we unfortunately will not have a chance to repeat anything more than twice. But yes, you do have a backup. If you still want to go through the explanation again, then the video is uploaded on your Language Academy portals. So after the class finishes, you can go back to that particular question, play the video and audio, and you can listen to whatever you missed. So first questions on your screen. First question on your screens, and 2.5 minutes, and I'll wait for your answers in the chat box. All right, should be done. Not very happy with the first answer. So good method that we keep on using almost every day, and I keep on talking about it, is to give yourself similar examples so that you can understand the writing style of that sentence. For example, here they have written the commandos. Now they are explaining this term, a term dashed to individuals as well as administrative and tactical units. So means this is the name commandos, which is a term, and we use it for this purpose. If you don't understand this way, that a term applied to, used to, functional to, concerned to, you can think of any common term that you know, like photosynthesis. So you say photosynthesis is a term concerned to plants. Is it right English? We say photosynthesis is a term used to plants. Do we say this? So give yourself examples which are general, which are common sense, which are very common, that you have read, you have studied, or you have been using. So that will give you a good idea on how to match or what kind of answer we need. So here it was the same, like for example, they write the photosynthesis, a term used to plants. No, used for plants, concerned with something. And term cannot be functional or non-functional. Functional simply means something is working, is functional. Non-functional means it doesn't work. So it is applied is the verb that goes with to. So we can say photosynthesis is a term applied to plants. Like here, commandos, a term applied to individual people or whosoever, doesn't matter. So your answer is not on context-based words. Your answer is always on grammar-based or sentence formation-based words. So this is a term which is applied to individual competents as well as units within which they operated. So the commandos, now we will not read the hyphen to hyphen part because we have finished it. To understand the sentence, we'll read it without hyphens. The commandos were organized in June 1940 when Britain's wartime fortunes were at their lowest ebb. After the evacuation of the British Expeditionary Force from Dunkirk, the whole dash of the German High Command was directed at the defeat of the UK. So first of all, looking at grammar always before you look at your options. If we have a blank before of, we always have to fill noun in that case. The dash of the German High Command. The second thing that you should check is, if I need a noun, where is the verb in the sentence? So the verb is directed, because this will give you a hint that I need a noun for which we can use the verb directed, because not every noun can be directed. There will be only few of the nouns that can be used with the word directed. Dash of the German High Command was directed at the defeat of the UK. Attention was directed, awareness of German was directed towards defeat of UK. So this has nothing to do with awareness, because awareness is something that we spread about positive things in the society or negative things in the society. One country looking at the defeat of the other country has nothing to do with awareness. Attentiveness was directed. Attentiveness is your focus kind of thing. Like we say, give your full attention. You should be attentive in the class. That is, you should be active. You should be focused. And consideration is not a noun that can be directed. So the answer was attention. There was also a secondary hint for us when you read ahead. Divert its attention was given in the next few sentences, 2-3 sentences. So that was there to give us a hint that, okay, the topic was not about consideration or awareness. It is whose attention is where, which country is having its attention at what purpose. So the whole attention of German was directed at the defeat of the UK. However, if any threat, however slight, could be brought against the long Axis front that ran from these, the Wehrmacht dashed to divert its attention from invasion preparations to organize some form of defense system. So whenever you have a conditional sentence, this is also a rule. This is not very commonly used, but we have used it, I think 3-4 weeks back in a test, in a question, that if there is a conditional sentence starting with if and the modal used is could, the second modal used will always be would in that case. So those who were there in that class, or those who have seen the video of that class, they will be knowing this rule, or those who would have written it down, because if you have not written it down, then you are not going to remember it again in the future. But anyhow, if there is a conditional sentence and they make that sentence with if something could be done, comma, the next part will always be in would. For example, if I could go back in time, I would like to change my childhood. If I could go back in time, I would like to change my childhood. So this is a sentence structure. This is the rule of grammar. If you are putting a possibility in a conditional sentence, it will be answered with would modal. So you don't want to go into this thing. If there is a conditional sentence starting with if and they have used could, the second tense will be would always. So you can note it down for yourself. That's why I keep on saying that it's not about how many classes you attend, right? Because in every test, there can be something new which might not be used in the next 10 tests and you will miss that. So try to be regular, try to be, even if you have not attended, like you're starting today, but if you can start watching the videos of the previous classes also, as many as you can, that will be helpful to you. And then they say at the same time it was dash to rebuild the dash of the British Army. It was at the same time. So in the previous sentence, they were saying that they were diverting its attention to organize some form of defense system. Only pick up easy words. And at the same time, it was dash to rebuild the dash. It was required, needed, vital, or major. So we cannot say it was required or not. Something was needed or not. We don't know, because they said this country or whosoever, they were trying to organize some form of defense system. So they were giving the attention on this system. So if we are giving our attention one thing and we are saying at the same time this thing is also to be done, but we cannot say it was required. They might be doing it without requirement also. So that is a context based answer. So knowledge based answer, sorry. And knowledge based answers are never possible. So you always have to go with general understanding answers, that it was important to rebuild the dash of the British Army and to maintain its offensive spirit. So again, we have a noun before of, blank before of, we need a noun. Rebuild the dash of the British Army, something of the army that can be built. Motivation is not built. Morale can be built. Hope is again not built. And focus of the army, we need to rebuild the focus. It's better to go with morale, because morale is their mindset, their confidence, their energy, their loyalty. All these things come in morale, so that they are, I think if you have enough morale or right morale, everything comes in it. The focus, concentration, everything will come with it, because morale means you're in what is it called, you're yourself ready to do something. You don't need anybody to push you or force you to do. So that's, we should go with morale. So these are the answers. The first one, like I gave you the example, give yourself examples like photosynthesis and then match it. So a concerned comes with use to plants doesn't make sense. A term used for plants makes sense. So we have to go with applied to plants, like applied to individual people. The second one, the topic was given in the context that they are talking about attention of one country on the other thing. Third one is a grammatical rule. If you have a conditional sentence starting with if and could, then you have to put would in the next part of the sentence. Fourth one, if we put required and needed, this will be knowledge based. Somebody has told us that it was needed. We don't know it was needed or not. So we have to go with it was important to do this. That's why they were doing. And the last one, rebuild. Rebuild means something that can be built. Motivation, we don't say we need to build motivation. And the same way, we don't say we need to build hope of the army. Armies don't keep hopes that we will win. They have to have the confidence that they will win. So hope is not possible. So it's better to go with out of focus and morale. Morale is a wider term to be used for armies rather than just focus, because armies need many more things than just the focus. Right? Anything that we did not talk about and you have a question in, any confusions, anyone? When can motivation come in? Motivation cannot come, Sukhpreet. I don't think we can say at the same time it was important to rebuild the motivation of, we don't build motivation. No. Doesn't match with the verb build. Anybody else, any confusion? So guys, as I said in the beginning, it won't be possible to repeat everything like third blank again, fourth blank again. We won't be able to complete the questions and the concepts in that case, because there are more than 70 students with us at one point of time. So you have to be very, very attentive when the explanation is going on. Once you can miss, you cannot miss it twice. But if still by any chance, sometimes I understand we have an important phone call or the internet doesn't work, so you can go back to the recording and you can listen to it again. Question number 2 on your screens, 2.5 minutes to post your answers for this one. All right, should be done by now. Do we put as soon as without time? Okay, as soon as is as soon as I reach there, as soon as they will come, as soon as the party ended, something related with time. As soon as we cannot see them, what has this to do with time? We cannot see something. As soon as without time. The first one was very easy and we haven't got many correct answers. So please make a note, those who have written C as the answer. As soon as comes with respect to time. When you want to say as soon as the party ended, that means at that time when party ended. As soon as I reached there means the time when I reached there. So you need to know the right context of using something. And then some of you have written since. Haven't we discussed the use of since a lot of times? Since comes with time, since 1911, since 2004 in that sense, or since comes in place of because. And you're writing since here. So you put because here, because we cannot see them, we are familiar with atoms. So because you cannot see, that is why you are familiar with atoms. Can we say this? Because I cannot see the stars, I am familiar with stars. Means the reason of being familiar is that I cannot see them. Think before you write anything. So it was though we cannot see, though is always when you have contrast. That though means even after I cannot see them, I am familiar with the atoms. So means without even being seen with naked eye, we still know about atoms a lot. So though we cannot see them with the naked eye, we are all familiar with the atoms that make up everything we see around us. Collections of positive protons, neutral neutrons, and negative electrons give rise to all the matter we interact dash. This is good because interact always comes with. How do you want to interact with the crowd? So interact is always written with the word with, always. So interacting with the people, interacting with the children, interacting with the crowd, always interact and with go together. However, there are some more exotic forms of matter, including exotic atoms, which are not made from these three basic components. Muonium, for example, is like hydrogen, which typically has one electron in orbit around one proton, but has a positively charged muon particle in place of the proton. Muons are important in physics as they allow physicists to test our best theories about matter, such as quantum, electrodynamics, or the standard model. So the sentence is complete. Muons are important in physics. It is a complete sentence. Physics is a noun. So whenever the sentence is complete and after the blank there is a noun, we need to fill adjective in that case. Means any word that can describe this noun. So any word that can describe the subject physics. Can we say innovative? Physics is new. Innovation is new things, right? Pioneer is something which is the best in that field. Revolutionary physics, revolutionary can be used for development. Like internet is a revolutionary development because internet has changed the whole way the world used to work. So automobile is a revolutionary innovation. So that's how we use the word revolutionary, for innovations, for developments, for new technologies. Physics is a subject. We cannot say revolutionary physics. So we'll go with cutting edge. Not a very common word, would be based on vocab based blank. I would classify this as cutting edge means the most advanced phase of any field or any subject or area. So cutting edge means the most advanced level of physics. So you can make a note of it. Even I have made it. So muons are important in the advanced level physics. Advanced level means cutting edge physics, as they allow physicists to test our best theories about matter, such as quantum, electrodynamics, or the standard model with high accuracy. So again, the sentence is complete. High is an adjective, so we need adverb. How high? very high, extremely high, moderately high. So that is adverb, something with ly. Almost high, high cannot be almost because high can be anything, and almost comes when you have a fixed figure like 100%, and you say almost 100%. Extremely can come, extremely means very, very high. Hugely high, huge cannot describe high in numbers. And extra is not an adverb going with extra high. No, we'll say very, very high accuracy. That is extremely high accuracy. This in itself is important, as only when a robust theory is pushed to its extremes may proverbial cracks start to form, which could indicate where new, more complete theories are needed and even what they might be. This is why the study of muonium is of great interest to the physics community. But up until now, it dashed detailed observation. Up until now, we have got A as the answer, we have got B as the answer, C and D as well. Means guessed. You all have just guessed. You have not selected the answer based on any reason. Okay, until now means you are talking about a time period. Until now means starting from some time till now. So that means we are talking about present plus past. This is simple present tense. This has nothing to do with past. Was is only past tense. This has nothing to do with present. Had means only past tense, nothing to do with present. But our answer is has, because has means present plus past. This also we have discussed a lot of times, those who were not present in those classes. The difference between present perfect and present tense is present tense only takes into account the current scenario, whereas present perfect has plus have take into account what we currently have plus we are referring it to past. So something that started in the past and is still there is when we use has or have. And had is used for something that started in the past and it has finished. That is not in the present time or current time. That is had. So this was easy. Up until now. Until now means we are starting from a time and continuing till today. That means we are talking about present plus past time. So we have to go with present perfect tense, which is has or have. And because it is singular, so we have to go with has. The day you will make your concepts stronger, your answers will definitely be better. Had been is past perfect continuous, not present perfect. Vamsi. So had been is continuous, but had means what? Started and finished. Started, stayed there for a while and finished, because it is had. All right, so these are the answers. The first one is though, because we have a contrast. Though we cannot see them, but we know about them. So that is how we can justify though. The second one was easy. Interact always comes with. Third one, the sentence is complete. Muons are important in physics. Physics is a noun, so we need adjective, a describing word for the subject physics. And it should be cutting edge. Cutting edge means high level, advanced level, the most highest or advanced level of something. High accuracy. How high is the accuracy? Extremely high, very high, moderately high. So we do have extremely. So we'll go with extremely, which means very, very high. And the last one, as I explained, when you have until now, means starting from past till the present. So taking into account both past and present time periods, we have to go with has or have, depending upon singular or plural noun, which is given in the blank. Any confusions, anyone? Okay. Third question on your screens, 2.5 minutes, and post your answers, please. All right, this was an easy one. A, and then C, what we have in 3 is the third one was why you have these classes, why you're sitting here is because of blank number 3. And still you're making a mistake means you really need to attend the classes every day. Okay, let's see. The use of performance enhancing drugs dash athletes competing in the Olympic Games is not new. So athletes are so many athletes use them. So we don't have 1 or 2, or we are not placing a limit here. Within is used when we have a limit. So we'll say among means between the athletes, but more than 2. This is not a new thing. This is as early as 1904. American runner Thomas Hicks was given doses of this during the marathon at the Summer Olympics in St. Louis. He dash winning the race after the first place finisher was disqualified. So this happened in past tense, 1904. So obviously we need past tense. Wind up is present tense. He ended up winning. He concluded winning the race. He landed. Landed is not winning the race or concluded. This is ended up means finished basically. He finished winning the race. He ended up finishing the race, winning the race after the first place finisher was disqualified for completing part of the marathon by car. Today, and then we have hyphen to hyphen. We could have skipped it, but we do have a blank between the hyphen. So we should focus only on the between hyphen part. Thanks in part to large television audiences and massive commercialization, which dash in many viewers an idealistic picture of the Olympic athlete. What is the noun? Television audiences and commercialization. Singular or plural? Plural, right? Our noun is plural. So what can come in the answer is only have. Has comes with singular things. Creates comes with singular nouns. Are causing. Causing is a negative word. Can we say audiences are causing in many viewers a picture? Audiences are causing a picture in viewers. It's not possible. We cannot cause a picture. So it will be audiences have instilled an idealistic picture in many viewers. Instilled means portrayed, conveyed. That is instilled. But this was simply based on present past tense. Those who have written C and D, please note it down. Now you can read it without hyphens. Today, and then there has been a significant crackdown on the use of performance enhancing substances. Dash the fight against drug use in sports is the World Anti-Doping Agency, an organization established in 1999 under an initiative led by the International Olympic Committee. So dash the fight, causing the fight, this organization is anti-doping. So this is not in the favor of the fight, obviously. These are against drugs. Directing, giving directions, guiding the fight, or leading. Leading is the right. Leading is the, it's actually a kind of phrase also that we say leading the fight. So when a person who is doing the maximum effort, or an organization who is heading something as a top leader and making the rules or something, so that can be called leading the fight. They are not causing the fight against, they are not giving directions of the fight, they are not guiding someone, they themselves are at the top that we are against it and we will stand against it. So that is leading the fight against something. Over the years, WADA's prohibited list, a compilation of substances banned dash sport. So they have a long list which has the names of the substances which are banned, and we always use banned from together. Like we say banned from entering USA. Who was a person recently banned? Yeah, I think Russia announced recently that we are banning Justin Trudeau from entering Russia. Maybe, I don't know, just think I read something like this. But anyhow, you are banned from using these substances. The government has banned people from smoking in public. So banned and from is a collocation. So these are the answers. The first one, among, because the number of athletes will be more than two, obviously. Ended up finishing the race, ended up winning the race means what exactly the person finished at. That is ended up. Third one, because the noun was plural, we had only one option, have, instilled. Fourth one, this organization is the leader against this fight. Otherwise, you can note it down. Leading the fight is a phrase. Leading the fight against something. That against can be any negative thing. So you can say leading the fight against corruption, leading the fight against dowry, leading the fight against drugs, anything. And the fourth one, band, comes with from, always. 𝗂𝗽𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗃. Is my news correct? Yes to that. I feel like I read it somewhere. I'm not sure. But anyhow. Question number 4 on your screens. You have 2.5 minutes and then post your answers, please. Okay, should be done and should be done well. Should is for suggestion, must is for compulsion. Please make a note. Where and when a volcano dash is not something that we can control. So these are they are talking about present tense fact, that we don't know where a volcano will erupt or where a volcano erupts, right? So where and when a volcano erupts is not something that we can control. Simple present tense because it's a factual statement. But as the atmosphere warms dash climate change. So atmosphere warms due to, because climate change is the reason. So we can go with because of climate change, we can go with due to climate change, both are fine, whatever we have in the options. As per is used to refer, like we generally discuss examples like as per the law, as per the rule, as per the book, as per the author. So that is references that we use as per. And through is something that we use with methods, ways, processes. So through any method, through any process, through any way, or we use through to pass, like through the tunnel, cross the tunnel, pass the tunnel. That is when we are the two cases we use through with. As if is conditional. So here there's no condition. So this is a simple tense saying that atmosphere warms because of climate change. So because of means due to. The plumes of ash and gas emitted by large but infrequent volcanic eruptions will rise even higher. Climate change dash also. See, also is a very small word, but it is a excellent kind of word. You know, it gives you so many hints. If it is in blanks, if it is in reorders, it simplifies everything written with in front of us. So also means you have to continue something that you have already said. That is only the reason you can use also when you want to say again. And again means you have to go to the previous one. Only then you will come to know that what is again. So also means go with whatever the previous sentence was saying. For example, you can say you have to study physics. You also have to study maths. So also study means previous also there was something related to study. So here the modal options in modal. So just go to the previous model. They used will also cannot otherwise come if things are not same, right? So these are small techniques that you need to, that can only come with discussion. That's to boost your thinking process. So make notes of these things in the exam. For large, the combined effect of these phenomena will cause the haze created by volcanic block more from dash Earth's surface. Something we have read a number of times, that sunlight is blocked from entering the Earth's surface. This is not extending. Extending is to increase. About reaching, that it will not reach the Earth's surface. It will finish in between only. Block more sunlight from entering or reaching the Earth's surface, ultimately dash the temporary cooling caused by volcanic eruptions. This is again whenever a sentence is complete. For example, of these phenomena will be created by volcanic aerosols to block more sunlight from reaching the surface. Full stop. It's a complete sentence. But we are not putting full stop. Instead, there is a verb, always ing form of. So when a sentence completes, but in place of a full stop, we put a comma and a blank, you have to go with ing form of verb in that case. So supplemented and developed do not fit grammatically. You have to go with exaggerating or amplifying. Exaggerating is a word that is used in a negative context when something is done overstressed, overemphasized, means more than required. Then we use the word exaggerating. Why are you exaggerating the scenario? It means you're oversaying things. So we'll go with amplifying. Amplifying can be a synonym of increasing, extending something, increasing something. So we can go with amplifying here. So what I said about should is used in case of suggestions, could for possibilities, and must for compulsion, compulsory things. These are the answers. The first one, everybody's right in selecting erupts, and that's a very good thing. Second is due to, because we have a reason. We are saying because of climate change, due to climate change. Will was a clear hint because of also sitting there. Otherwise, this is not a must thing. We cannot say atmosphere warms, must climate change, doesn't make sense. Should climate, no, sorry. Climate change, where is the sentence? Yeah. Climate change should also accelerate. Should is we want it to do it. So should is a suggestion, and suggestions are always for things that you want. And otherwise we can say climate change could also accelerate. Could means possibility of doing. But how do we know they're talking about possibility? We will look at also, and then we will find our answer, which is something already said. The fourth one, block the sunlight. Sunlight is not allowed to, and that is entering or reaching. Any of the words should have been fine. For sunlight, we don't say sunlight lands on the earth's surface. We say sunlight comes, sunlight reaches. That's better. And the last one, whenever the sentence is complete, but in place of a full stop, they put a comma and they give us a blank, we need to go with ing form of verb. Exaggerating is negative. So we'll go with amplifying. That what is the ultimate effect? The ultimate effect is amplifying the temporary cooling. Amplifying means increasing, extending. Any of the things can be amplifying. Any questions? Pavan, is suggestion clear now? Should clear? All right, so here you have your fifth question on the screen. 2.5 minutes to post your answers. Okay, should be done. Let's discuss. This says Walter Gropius, born on this date at this place, died on this date. He was a German-American architect and educator who dash a major influence on the development of modern architecture. So obviously past tense, he did this work. Can we say, to simplify these kind of sentences, you can just say that Mr. W, who dash a major influence on modern literature, modern architecture, whatever. So Mr. W, who exerted a major influence, initiated is started. We use initiate with initiated this program, initiated this movement, initiated this plan. Initiate is to start. Influence is not something that can be started. Applied, he applied a major influence on the development of architecture, or he used. Applied or exerted, both are fine. So we have to go with more specific word, and specific word for the noun influence is exerted. So applied is a general word, because applied, if you make a sentence with applied, we can say that apply the ointment on the wound. So wound is a physically existing thing. Ointment is also a cream, physically existing. So applied is a general word which is used in a lot of contexts. Here also we can say he applied influence if exerted is not there. So exerted is more academic. Exerted goes with abstract things. Exerted is used with power. Exerted is used with influence. Exerted is used with pressure, because all these things are abstract. They cannot be seen or touched. So that is what is the meaning of more specific words and general words. Specific words are those which are out of a general context. They are used for a few of those category words. Those are called specific ones. So he was an educator who exerted a major influence. Exerted can be he put a major influence, or he applied a major influence on the development of architecture. His works included, I'm not reading the comma to comma part, so first try and understand the sentence. His works included the school building and faculty housing at this place, the Harvard University Graduate Center, and the US Embassy in Athens. Most assessments of Gropius's dash career center dash his achievements. So Gropius's means of this person. Most assessments of Gropius's career. So the sentence is complete. Most assessments of his career. But still we have a blank. So career is a noun. So we need adjective. What kind of career he had? Strong, famous, influential, important. So what have they been saying? He had a major influence on this and that. So we'll also say his influential career, because he's influencing others. That's why we are using this word. So we cannot say somebody's career was famous. Somebody's career was strong. Somebody's career was important. So we don't use these words to describe career. We can say flourishing career, growing career. We can say, what is that word that we use for strong in terms of career? Renowned are the words that we use to say somebody is very, very good in his or her work. So we can say influential career, center dash his achievement. This is a collocation, center upon. Center upon means mainly these are the things that represent his career. Most of his assessments are based on this thing. So center upon is a collocation. Stringent means strict akshay. That's a negative word. It goes with rules and regulations, laws. So most assessments of his influential career center upon means the main parts included are his achievements are as educator and author rather than as architect. In his own building designs, he turned away from personal and subjective aspects in favor of reaching for intellectual solutions of larger and socially dash problems. Larger problems and socially dash problems, socially emergency problems, socially drastic, extreme, or urgent. So it's better to go with socially urgent, means he wanted to prioritize the ones which are more important than the others. So obviously if you're trying to solve the problems, first of all, you will look at the ones which are urgent ones. You will not pick up the ones which are common ones. So urgent problems. Among his most important ideas was his belief that all design should be approached in essentially the same way through a systematic study of the particular needs and problems involved, taking into dash modern construction materials. This is a collocation, or you can say this is a phrase, taking into consideration or taking into account, whatever you have in the options. Both are fine. So we don't have consideration, but we do have account. So we'll go with taking into account. Otherwise, we could have gone with taking into consideration. Both are right. You will never get both of them in the same option. That's not possible. Right, so these are the answers. Exerted is a verb that we use for abstract nouns like pressure, power, influence. And the second one is what type of career, any word that can describe a person's career. Career, we cannot say he has an important career and that person has unimportant career. Career is important for everyone. So we'll say type of career. Influential means a career that can influence other people. Third one, center upon, is a collocation. Socially dash problems. So if you're trying to look for solutions, you will always look for solutions for the problems which are urgent, not extreme problems or drastic problems or emergency. Emergency is not a describing word. It's better to say urgent problems. And the last one, taking into consideration or account. Both are same. Whatever you have in the options, you can go with that phrase. Say socially extreme problems. Have you read like this, Bhavik, anywhere? Socially extreme problems, socially drastic problems. You have to give yourself examples that where have I read the word drastic. This is a drastic change. This is a drastic effect. Very big and negative. So drastic is used to convey the height or level of something, how big it is. Drastic means very, very huge. That's drastic. Extreme, again, the highest of something. Do we say problems as highest or lowest? So understand the context in which words are used. I'm not saying that you cannot say like drastic problem is a wrong thing, but you say drastic for this is a very big problem. So you want to find a solution for the big problem or urgent problem. Now this is what you have to think at that point of time. What is the context talking about? Urgent problem or small or big problems? Right? Okay, I hope it's clear now. Let's move on to reorders. And here you have your first question. 2 minutes for this. Think properly and post your answers within 2 minutes. Not a very easy question, but not a very difficult one as well. Those who have written D first, revise your strategy classes. The very first rule that you are taught about reorders is the article rule, and you have missed that. That means you cannot be relied on for the other rules as well, because if the first one is something that you have forgotten, you need to revise them. The first sentence is B, where they say physicists have created a new way to observe details about the structure and composition of materials that improves upon previous methods. This is something that most of you have missed. I always say that the second sentence further explains the first sentence. Now, first sentence says they have made something new, which is better than the previous one. And you have a sentence which talks about the previous one, but you haven't written it at number 2. Why? Because we did not really look at the word conventional. We just say conventional stethoscopy changes the frequency of everything. Is not just there to read. We are reading to find out what is useful to us. Conventional is the opposite of modern. Conventional means old method, old technique. That is why this comes at number 2. First, you said we have got a new thing which is better than the previous one. Now you explain what exactly was the previous one. Only then you will tell us the improvement. The previous one used to work in this way. And then you say the new technique does not need to explore a wide frequency range, so can operate much more quickly. So much more means comparison. So you have already talked about something and now you are comparing it and saying this is more quicker. And then the uses. This method could be used to interrogate what and what and what. Smart question this was. So you have to be this much attentive when you're solving reorders, because you have to first of all tell yourself that everything is in there. You are judging your capability, that how much is your capability to find this puzzle, because everything will be given there. So you don't have to actually work on understanding the story. No, you just have to try and find out the hints. That's it. But for that, rules are very important. Article rule, example rule, timeline rule, subject verb rule. So they are important. The second one, 2 minutes, and then post your answers, please. There are not many a times that we get a totally timeline based question in the exam, which obviously becomes the easiest. So anyhow, the first one was this, where we have the full form: ebook in full electronic book. You cannot talk about ebook and then you say, oh sorry, ebook means electronic book. The full form always has to come in the first sentence. So C was the first one, and then they give the definition: ebook is a digital file containing a body of text and images suitable for distributing electronically and displaying on screen in a manner similar to a printed book. So this is a definition. And then we have something happening in 1990s, 2006, and 2000 and 2002. So let's go with the order and see if it matches. The industry for buying and selling ebooks first emerged, means started. However, in the aftermath of dot-com crash of this, ebooks did not find wide acceptance. So first they will start only, then they can crash. The industry's resurgence. Re means coming up again. So even if we don't know the meaning of resurgence, we know re means redoing something, doing it again. So resurgence have began when Sony Corporation released an e-reading device in 2006 and Amazon released Kindle in 2007. That is after crashing, obviously revival happened in 2006 and then 2007. This was the easiest reorder that you can get in the exam. This is the lowest level. So you have to make sure that you are getting 50% marks in this level of reorders at least, and then attempt the exam. So Anita, that's why we have these classes, because you have to start thinking like I think. You have to focus on the discussion. You have to think on how she starts, how she finishes, which are the words she focuses on. That's why these classes are important. If you're just looking at, oh, I have got one wrong, I've got two wrong, I've got three wrong, oh, I've got 20 or 25, don't attend the classes. You're doing a time waste for yourself. You can do that on your portal as well. That will be helpful, because at least you will be covering the latest questions on the portal. So if you're attending these classes, change your whole mindset that I'm sitting here to learn how to read, how to look at, how to analyze, then how to eliminate, the strategies, the methods, the tips, the tricks, the rules, all the things is what I'm sitting here for. Doesn't matter you're getting 0, does not matter. But if at the end of the day, a student who's getting 21 has learned nothing, and student who has got 5 marks, but he has made a long list that, okay, these things I'll take care tomorrow, that's the person who's getting benefit out of the classes, right? So just positive motivation, nothing negative. Okay, the third and the last question for reorder is 2 minutes and post your answers. Very bad, Shivali. Taking so long time. So the first sentence is E because that's where the topic starts. After the Roman Empire conquered Greece in the mid-2nd century BC, the Olympic Games continued, but their standards and quality declined. So you're taking a big stance that standards and quality of Olympic Games declined. So you have to prove it, right? So you start with examples. In one notorious example from this time, the Emperor Nero entered an Olympic chariot race only to disgrace himself by declaring himself the winner even after he fell off his chariot during the event. Time ahead, in this time, this person called for a ban on all pagan festivals, including the ancient Olympic tradition, after nearly 12 centuries. So first we say what is the topic? Olympic Games, their quality declined. Give the example to prove your point that, see, like this it used to happen. And then there was a person who called a ban, that these should be banned, because the next two sentences are about coming up again. So this would be 4, where we say it would be another 1500 years before the games would rise again because of this person. And this person is being referred to as the young baron. Here we have the full name, and here only baron. So acronym rule is being applied. So all of you should have got C and D correct. I mean DC as a pair, because this was a very clear hint. Full name and part of the name always come together. So this should have been correct, and then other things were also based on timeline. AD 67 will come first, and then AD 393 will come. So yes, Rupa, we can call it a medium level question, because see, difficulty levels are also marked on the basis of length. So length is also a basis. This is a long sentence, long question. So it will be, this thing also will make it a medium level, because it's not a very small one. You need time to read through the sentences. The video, I guess, becomes available after an hour or two, I guess. I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing. I think it doesn't take very long. Moving on to reading blanks, you have your first question on the screen, 2 minutes to post your answers, and then we'll have the discussion. All right, should be done. Let's discuss. Although zoning protected residents from adjacent noxious uses, it had the less desirable further effect of dash long trips to work and increasing routine travel. So after of comes ing form of verb. To check it, let's check what form of verb they are using after, and it is also ing. So we have to go with ing form of verb. How many do we have? Only one. There's no choice. Forcing long trips to work and increasing routine travel, comma, this should be a full stop, but there is a comma, and then straight away we have a blank, and they have used ing form of verb. Contributing to traffic congestion and limiting activity in each part of the city to different times of the day. So this is the writing style that we discussed, that when we have a complete sentence, but in place of a full stop, we use a comma, we always go with ing form of verb. So this is ing form of verb is already written, means the sentence is complete. We still have a blank, so we have to go with adverb or connector, whatever we have got in the options. We don't have any adverb, but we can go with thereby. Thereby is a connector, and thereby means because of that. So because of these previous mentioned things, what happened is contribution to traffic congestion. All these things lead to traffic congestion and limiting activity in the part of the city. Some zoning codes dash disputes. So some codes dash disputes, we need a verb. Zoning codes would be nouns. We have provoked and caused. Provoked is more academic than caused, so we'll go with provoked. Provoked means started, gave rise to disputes. Court cases in the US challenged zoning ordinances that by requiring large single residence dwellings on large lots, it restricted the dash of affordable homes for low income households. So after the, we need a noun, something of homes. We have formation of homes or construction of homes. Again, construction is more specifically used with buildings, so we'll go with construction of homes. In some states, courts struck down exclusionary zoning and some legislation was passed. What kind of legislation was passed? Now, what I can say is most of you have written amendment here. See, if amendment is the answer, you don't need legislation in that case. You can say some of these states, they, what is it? In some states, courts struck down on zoning and some amendment was passed. You don't need legislation in that case because amendment itself is a noun. So you have to go with what kind of legislation. So we'll say remedial. Remedial because people had problems on these ordinances, on these codes. They challenged it. Challenge means they wrote their applications against it in the courts. That is challenging something in the court. And then the government or the court gives a solution for that problem that people are facing. So that is remedy. That is why it is remedial legislation was passed. Amendment would be a noun. Legislation is already a noun. We cannot say amendment. We could have said amended legislation. That means changed legislation was passed. That makes sense. But amendment and legislation together doesn't make sense. Right? So these are the answers. The first one also and thereby. Thereby is better, Rajni. We need a connector, not a conjunction. Also would be a conjunction. The first one after of comes ing form of verb, so we'll go with forcing. Second one, we need adverb or connector. We have thereby as the connector. Third one, caused or provoked. Provoked is more academic, which means the same, that it led to some disputes. The fourth one, people challenged it in the court because the problem, why they challenge, what problem did they write in their application was we cannot construct affordable houses. And the last one, in some areas, some courts, they changed the legislation. So amendment was passed or remedial legislation was passed. Amendment, legislation, both nouns cannot come together. Right? Any confusions, anyone? Question number 2 on your screens, 2 minutes and post your answers. Very good. Well done. This is a well attempted question. Sea caves are formed by wave action on fractures or other weaknesses in the bedrock of sea cliffs dash the coastlines. With coastlines, you always say along, because coastline is a very long along the coast area, and coasts are many kilometers long. So along means side by side, at side of the coastlines you have sea cliffs. There may be more crevices in the cliff or roomy chambers. Dash can be entered only by boat at low tide, while others. So what do we use with others is always some. Some people can do this, others can do that. Some children go to park, others go to temple. So some and others is a way we write it. Otherwise also a little is used for negative things and uncountable things. And caves definitely can be counted. How many caves are there? So we'll go with some can be entered by boat, while others occurring along beaches can be walked dash. So it is about entering. Some can be entered by boats, while others can be walked into, because into means movement plus going inside. So it will be walked into because you're walking and entering the cave. So that's why. A sea cave may have an opening to the surface at its rear that provides access from the top of the cliff. In some cases, the ceiling entrance serves as a blowhole from which water sprouts dash times of high tide or rough seas. So with time, we always say during this time. So whatever the time, during this time. So during times of high tide. Sea caves are more than a few hundred meters long. Sentence is complete. We need adverb. We have two here. Are rarely or never. Never would be based on information. It's a very strong stance that we take, that are never possible. We don't know. Maybe there are some which are more than 100 meters long. So we won't take that chance. We'll say rarely. Means not very commonly, but maybe. So rarely they are more than a few hundred meters long. Right, so good attempt. Still any confusions, anybody? Coastline is always along. Some people, others, some caves, other caves. We can go inside, that is walking into. Fourth one, during always comes with time. And fifth one, we cannot say never because that's a strong stance. We cannot take it. So we'll say rarely, very rarely, not commonly. So walked into, because into goes with movement plus entering something. So you're going inside, that is you're walking, and you're entering. So this, we have a video which has the difference between in and into, on and onto. A lot of all the prepositions are covered. So please go through that video on your Language Academy portals, those who haven't. These are not the things that you should be just guessing one and two. There is a long list, you have to cover all of them. Right, question number 3 on your screens, 2 minutes, and then post your answers. efforts are issued? Who issues efforts? Vamsi, which organization, which place issues efforts? Conscious dash to plan cities re-emerged in Europe. Conscious attempts to plan cities. So we make different attempts to plan the cities. This thing we're talking about, it came up again in Europe. Sorry. Although these efforts partly dash at improving circulation, so efforts are aimed at doing something. Something means what is the purpose of doing the efforts? What is your aim? So we cannot say efforts are issued. How can we issue efforts? So these efforts partly aimed at means what was their purpose? What was their aim at the end? At improving circulation and providing military defense. Their objective was often the glorification of a ruler or a state. The sentence is complete. Still we have a blank. Objective is a noun. So we need what kind of objective? Main objective, primary objective, anything like this. So we have main as well. We have prime as well. Prime is more academic than main. So we'll go with prime objective. Means the main one was to glorification of a ruler. From the 16th century to the end of the 18th, many cities were laid out and built with monumental dash. Nouns: monumental luxury, efficiency, splendor. So monumental would be splendor. Splendor means when you make something which looks very grand. You look at something and you feel like, I haven't seen something like this before. Means it is intentionally made with the objective of making it look grand, magnificent. That is monumental splendor. Luxury would be anything which would be very, very costly. So they are not talking about a money perspective or cost perspective here, but they are saying that the intention was to make things look grand, because so that it will be remembered that this particular ruler or this particular politician made it happen. So that is what their aim was. The result may have pleased and inspired the citizens, but it rarely contributed to their health, to the comfort of their homes, or to dash in manufacturing, distribution, and marketing. Means it might have pleased or inspired them, but it had no positive effects, no positive results. They said it rarely contributed, no contribution to health, no contribution to comfort, or to dash in manufacturing. So we need a positive word here. So it would be efficiency in production or marketing. Means there was no efficiency in production or marketing at anything. Some of you have messed this up, the last one, venture. Or to venture in, we need a positive thing here. Like they said, contribution to health, comfort of homes, what of manufacturing. How can we say venture in manufacturing? What is venture? Venture itself is a noun. With to, you cannot put a noun. Right? After to comes a verb, yes. Even efficiency is a noun, okay? But you have to go with to dash in manufacturing, because the sentence is not just starting from this to, or you don't have one word here. The sentence, it's starting from the result. So you have to understand the result may have pleased and inspired the citizens, but it rarely contributed to health. It rarely contributed to the comfort of their homes. It rarely contributed to efficiency in manufacturing. So you can read it in this way. If it becomes difficult for you to understand a long sentence, you can read it in parts. The way of reading it in parts is read the subject every time when you read the predicate. So it contributed to health, it contributed to comfort, it contributed to dash in manufacturing. So something in manufacturing, right? So these are the answers. The first one is we make attempts to plan cities. The second one, efforts are aimed, not issued. The third one, monumental splendor, because splendor means grandeur, something which is intentionally made grand, and monuments can be intentionally made grand. Monuments are just buildings or any type. So like Eiffel Tower is a monument. Statue of Liberty is a monument. So they are intentionally made grand. The Fourth is this, and the fifth one is efficiency, because we needed what in manufacturing it did not contribute to. So did not contribute to efficiency in manufacturing, something positive that did not happen. So efficiency is positive. Out of prime and main, prime is more academic, so we'll go with prime and not main in the third one. All right. The last question for today, 2 minutes for this, and then post your answers. Second one is not mostly. Mostly means like 98% we can describe it, 2% we cannot. Is that the topic? The primary resource for detailing the path of human evolution will always be fossil specimens. Certainly, the trove of fossils from Africa and Eurasia indicates that, unlike today, more than one species of our family dash at the same time for most of human history. And what we have in the options is more than one species of our family was living at the same time. More than one species of our family has lived at the same time. Do we need ing form of verb here? Was living. Is the context about what were they doing? Either it can be more than one species of our family lived at the same time. You have no reason to go in ing tense. Your context is not in ing tense. So it's better to go with has lived, because anyhow they are comparing it with today. So you can say more than one species of our family has lived at the same time. The stronger reason for selecting has lived is that in any case, I cannot go in ing. The context is not telling us what they were doing. They were living and then they were dying. Not that sense. This is something that they have lived, or one species has lived at the same time. The nature of specific fossil specimens and species can be described, as can the location where they were found and the period of time when they lived. So here, the sentence is absolutely complete. The nature of specific fossil specimens and species can be described. Described is a verb. We need adverb, something with ly here. How can we describe it? So we have accurately described or mostly described. Are we talking about the number? 2 times described, 90% described. Mostly means what part of? 90% we can describe them. No, we're saying we can accurately describe them, as we can describe the location, and also we can describe the period of time where they lived. But questions of how a species lived and why they might have either died or evolved dash other species. So transformation of one species is into the other species, that is evolved into. Because whenever there is a change, one into another, into is the preposition that we use in that case. So either they are died out or evolved into other species can only be dashed by formulating scenarios. So with be comes third form of verb. How many do we have? Directed and addressed. When we need a verb, we need to find out what is the noun. The noun is questions. Questions are directed or questions are addressed. So questions are addressed. We don't direct questions, we ask questions. And addressing the question means to try to find out the solution or to give the answer to that question is called addressing the question. So these questions can be addressed, means can be answered by formulating scenarios, albeit scientifically informed ones. These scenarios are based on information gleaned from localities where the fossils were collected. The sentence is absolutely complete. Information is a noun, so we need again adjective. What kind of information? So anything that can describe information. We have circumstances, that's a noun itself. Directed is a verb. Contextual is the only adjective we are left with. So the answer will be contextual information, which means context-based information. Right? So these are the answers. Even was is used for singular tense. So the point in the first blank was not singular or plural, because has and was both are used in singular tense. Actually, if I tell you the insight of this sentence is not really talking about any one species. It is not telling us that our species had lived at that time. No, the sentence is just trying to say that any of the species has lived, means yes, this is a possibility that we species have lived at that time also. So it was not based on the actual living of any species. It was just a fact that yes, species have lived at that time. So it was not ing in any case. But that's okay. I would not classify the first blank here to be very easy, so that's fine. But the remaining four were pretty easy. So the first one is has lived, because they were talking about the general scenario. Second one, how can we describe them? We can describe them very accurately, just like we can tell the location and we can tell the period of time. Questions are addressed, means answered. Change of one species is always into the other species. The last one, the sentence is complete. Information is a noun, but still we have a blank, so we'll go with adjective, and there's only one adjective that we have, contextual information. Right? Ankita, because the third form is already there, didn't you see described? So can you write described, invented together? So what did I say there? Species can be described. The sentence is complete. We need adverb, because verb is when the sentence is incomplete, because sentences cannot be completed without verbs or helping verbs. But sentences are completed without adjectives and adverbs. Okay. So these were all the questions that we had to do today. I hope this would have been helpful and you have got the crux of these classes, that why do you have to sit here for 2 hours? What is your aim? What is your target? And the sooner you will realize that, the sooner you will lead onto the path of improvement. Any questions, anyone, before we leave? Those who don't have any questions, yes, you are free to leave.